The prediction was made in March 2025. Phil Mickelson, the six-time major winner, the face of LIV Golf, the man who has never been afraid to speak his mind, looked at the world number one and made a declaration that left everyone stunned. Scottie Scheffler would not win a single PGA Tour event before the Ryder Cup, not one. The golf world laughed. Then it watched, and watched, and watched, because what happened next was one of the most dominant seasons in the history of the sport. 6 wins, 2 majors, 45 rounds in the 60s, 196 shots under par, 196,000 shots under par, $25 million in prize money. And Phil Mickelson? He had just made one of the worst predictions in the history of professional golf. But here's where the story gets interesting, because Phil Mickelson is not the kind of person who learns from his mistakes, or at least he's not the kind of person who admits them. When asked about his prediction, Phil did not apologize. He did not laugh at himself. He did not acknowledge that he had been spectacularly, embarrassingly wrong. Instead, he did what Phil always does. He kept talking. In February 2026, just weeks before the Masters, Phil turned his attention to another target, Anthony Kim. The 40-year-old comeback story had just done the impossible. At LIV Golf Adelaide, in front of nearly 40,000 fans, Kim had gone head-to-head with Jon Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau, and won. It was the kind of redemption story that Hollywood would reject for being too unbelievable. Phil watched it all unfold, and he couldn't help himself. He took to social media with a prediction that made his Scheffler take look almost reasonable. "One of the best stories in sports," Phil wrote. "I wish the win got him in the 4 majors. He might still get in by invite, but he really earned it. Going head-to-head with Rahm and Bryson and winning was spectacular TV. Winning a major? I wouldn't put it past him." Read that again. Phil Mickelson, the 6-time major winner, the man who has spent the last 4 years fighting the PGA Tour, just suggested that Anthony Kim, a player who had been absent from professional golf for 12 years, a player who could barely walk when he first entered rehab, a player who had been relegated from LIV Golf, could win a major championship. And not just any major, a major that would require him to beat Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, and the entire field of the world's best players. The golf world reacted exactly as you would expect. Some praised Phil for his loyalty to a fellow LIV player. Others accused him of being delusional, but everyone noticed the subtext. Phil was not just praising Anthony Kim, he was taking a shot at the establishment. He was saying that a player from his league, a player who had been written off by the PGA Tour, could compete with and beat the likes of Scottie Scheffler. And in doing so, he was going after the world number one all over again. To understand why Phil Mickelson keeps going after Scottie Scheffler, you have to understand who these two men are, because they could not be more different. Start with Phil. He is the old guard, the rebel, the man who has never been afraid to speak his mind, even when it costs him everything. He left the PGA Tour for LIV Golf, taking hundreds of millions of dollars and becoming the face of the rival league. He has been suspended, criticized, and ostracized, and he does not care. He is charismatic, chaotic, and always entertaining. He brings drama wherever he goes. He is the villain that golf loves to hate. Now, look at Scottie Scheffler. He is the new guard, the champion, the man who has never been afraid to keep his mouth shut even when it would be easier to say something. He is the world number one, the 2-time Masters champion, the most dominant player on the planet, and he is, by all accounts, a genuinely nice person. He does not have Instagram, he does not seek attention, he walks through crowds carrying his own putter, without security, without an entourage. He talks about his family more than his golf swing. He admits that he has to fight from keeping winning from defining him. "If I let my bad golf define me, I'd be a pretty miserable person," he says. "If I let my good golf define me, then I'd walk around pretty arrogant all the time, and I wouldn't be very nice to people because I think I'm hot stuff because I won a few golf tournaments." He is, in many ways, the anti-Phil. Quiet where Phil is loud, humble where Phil is boastful, grounded where Phil is chaotic. And that contrast is exactly why Phil keeps taking shots at him. Because Scottie Scheffler represents everything that Phil is not. And because in a sport that is desperate for drama, Phil knows that going after the world number one guarantees attention.
The 2026 Masters was supposed to be the stage where these two worlds collided. Phil and Tiger Woods were both absent, the first time since 1994 that neither legend was in the field. Patrick Reed even commented on it, saying, "Let's be honest, without Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson in the events in golf, when they both step away, honestly, I feel it hurts the game." But Scheffler was there, and he won, again, adding another chapter to a legacy that is starting to rival the very legends that Phil compares himself to. The golf world's reaction to Phil's comments has been predictably divided, and that division tells you everything about the state of the sport right now. On one side, the Phil supporters, they argue that he is just being honest, that he has always spoken his mind, and that is why people love him. They point out that his prediction about Anthony Kim was not meant as a slight against Scheffler. It was meant as support for a friend, as encouragement for a man who has overcome more than most of us can imagine. "Winning a major, I wouldn't put it past him," Phil wrote. "That is not an attack, it's a vote of confidence." On the other side, the critics, they argue that Phil is being intentionally provocative, that he knows exactly what he is doing when he praises LIV players at the expense of PGA Tour stars, that his prediction about Scheffler was not just wrong, it was embarrassingly, comically wrong, and that his silence in the face of being proven wrong speaks volumes about his character. They point to the numbers: 6 wins, 2 majors, 196 under par, a season for the ages. And Phil's response? Crickets. Then there's a third group, the pragmatists. They argue that Phil's comments are irrelevant, that Scottie Scheffler does not care what Phil Mickelson thinks, that the world number one is too focused on his family, his faith, and his game to worry about the ramblings of a 55-year-old LIV golfer. This group points to how Scheffler has handled the pressure of being the hunted. He doesn't engage, he doesn't retaliate, he just wins. And in doing so, he makes Phil's comments look even more foolish. As one commentator put it, Scheffler appears to be a well-adjusted, soft-spoken, faith-balanced family man from Texas. He is not interested in feuds, he is not interested in drama, he is interested in winning golf tournaments and going home to his wife and children. That is his superpower, and it's the one thing that Phil Mickelson, for all his talent, has never been able to master. So, where does this leave us? What is the real story behind Phil Mickelson going after Scottie Scheffler? The truth is more complicated than the headline suggests. Let me break down 3 possibilities. Possibility 1. Phil is just being Phil. This is the simplest explanation. Phil Mickelson has never been able to stop himself from talking. He makes predictions, he offers opinions, he says things that other players would never say. Sometimes he's right, often he's wrong, but he never apologizes and he never stops. His prediction about Scheffler was not malicious, it was just stupid. And his support for Anthony Kim is not an attack, it's just friendship. We're reading too much into it. Possibility 2. Phil is intentionally trying to undermine the PGA Tour. This is the more cynical explanation. Phil is the face of LIV Golf. He has a vested interest in seeing the rival league succeed. Every time he praises a LIV player, he is implicitly criticizing the PGA Tour. Every time he predicts that a PGA Tour star will fail, he is trying to shift the narrative. His prediction about Scheffler and Kim are not random, they are strategic, they are part of a larger war for the soul of professional golf. Possibility 3. Phil is irrelevant. This is the harshest explanation, but it might be the most accurate. Phil Mickelson is 55 years old. He is no longer competing at the highest level. He is not in the Masters field. He is nowhere near the top of the world rankings. His opinions, however entertaining, do not matter. Scottie Scheffler is the best player in the world. He has proven it time and time again. And he does not need to respond to Phil because Phil is not worth responding to. My final take is this. Phil Mickelson's comments about Scottie Scheffler have one thing in common. They are both wrong. Scheffler did win, he won a lot, and Anthony Kim, for all his talent and all his courage, is not going to win a major championship. But here's the thing, being wrong has never stopped Phil before. He will keep talking, he will keep predicting, he will keep provoking, and the golf world will keep reacting. Because even when he's wrong, even when he's irrelevant, Phil Mickelson is still entertaining. And in a sport that desperately needs more characters, that might be enough. This is Golfio. If you made it to the end of this video, you care about the real stories behind the game. Subscribe to this channel for more deep dives into the moments that matter. And leave a comment below. Was Phil right about anything, or has he completely lost it? I'll see you in the next video. For more coverage in golf, subscribe and hit the notification bell.